hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is the Hitchin presents an extreme office decluttering. So in today's video, I am going to try to speed this up and see what happens. It should be 2 times speed, maybe quicker if I can figure that out. But what this is this is an office. Well, technically it's a 4th bedroom, but we have been using it as basically a storage space for the last 2 years. We moved into this house in 2021, and there you can see me contemplating all of my life choices. And anyways, we moved into this house in 2021, and we had basically stripped the house back to the drywall and then demoed and renovated each room from scratch, and we built this house. So does not say much for the builder that we moved in and immediately started ripping everything out and starting over. But this was just, we didn't need the 4th bedroom, and we didn't really need an office. We had been using a room upstairs as sort of a pseudo office for the past 2 years. And life just got in the way, and this had become just a dumping ground for all the things. And I know that in a previous video I had explained a little bit about this, but just catching you up to speed about why it is in such bad shape. We never did finish this room, so there's no baseboards. We did the flooring and we installed the ceiling fan, and then that was it. It just became the dumping ground for all the things. And it also has, I think one of the few Ethernet ports in this room downstairs. So it's where our printer ended up, which is then where all the homeschool supplies ended up, and it's just become this gigantic mess. And every so often I would come in here and try to like declutter and organize and get a handle on it, and it just haven't been able to keep up with it. So finally, we have a realtor coming to look at the house at the end of this week. So I just decided, you know what, there is no time like the present just to finish this. So we have the baseboards in the garage, we have paint in the garage, we have all the things we need to actually finish this room and get it done with. We just haven't done it, and all that stuff has been sitting for 2 years, and I'm just at my wit's end with it. But anyways, you know, it is what it is. Life gets busy, and you just have to give yourself grace, but also remind yourself, listen, these things still have to get done. And sometimes it takes like a big life-changing event to shake things up a little bit. So that's kind of what's happening here. This isn't anything major. Well, I guess it could be major, but we might be moving. And it would be a huge thing if we ended up moving, because we built this house to be our forever house. So that's why we didn't do the office when we moved in. I figured I'd have lots of time, like several decades, to finish each room the way I wanted exactly. And there's still just a bunch of little projects like creating a shoe drop and building bookshelves and things like that I wanted to do, but they might not happen. So there's nothing set in stone, but my husband is possibly taking a job in a different state, and I would be heartbroken to leave Florida, but I go where my husband goes, and I think he would be heartbroken to leave Florida as well. But it could be just one of those opportunities where if he doesn't take it, it could be so detrimental to our future that he might need to take it, and then we could potentially come back to Florida later on in life, which would be great. And the thing is that God has all of this in control, but we don't even know, like, numbers wise, if that's feasible right now. So I figured the best thing we could do is to have somebody come in and tell us what the house is worth, and what the process would look like if we had to sell or rent or whatever. So I'm not worried. I'm not feeling overwhelmed or anything. I'm feeling very at peace, which just, to me, that's like the signal that this is God doing all the work. I'm just super at peace about things. So this is all good. You know, God's got this under control, and I've just got to trust that he's got all of it in his hands, which he does. And so It's so much easier to live in uncertain times when you have the one who is certain of all things in your corner. So that's pretty cool. All right, so anyways, what you're going to see me here doing is kind of like shuffling things around. And this is a thing that I think is true about decluttering. Everything just got shoved in this room, and when I walk into a room and it's highly cluttered, I get super anxious, first of all. But second of all, the first thing I want to do is clear off the floor. And I don't know why that is, but I think it has something to do with just how my mind works. I want paths. I want to be able to walk. And so the first thing I do when I come in here is I just start taking stuff out. A bunch of this is stuff to be donated. Like, these boxes of books need to go to the library, but our library only accepts books during certain times of the year. Right now is when they're taking them, but they just instated a new rule that they only take one box per family per week. So I'm going to have to make multiple trips to the library, which is fine. But it's just like, it's a lot to remember. So I'm like, you'll see the video cutting here. What I'm doing is I am taking these boxes right out to the car. Like, if it's going to be donated, I'm just going to take it right out to the car. And if I got to drive around with it in the car for a couple weeks, so be it. That's fine. I would rather it be in the car than in the house. So I am deciding what I'm going to keep and what I'm going to give away. And a lot of it, I've already decided, like most of the stuff in that box. And the box had gotten so heavy that the side of the box blew out. So like I had to get smaller boxes. And trying to decide, like, are these books worth keeping? Are they not worth keeping? That kind of thing. And most of them were kind of like trash books that we had been given over the years that were just, mindless or whatever, not really worth keeping. So to the library they go. A lot of other stuff that I have in here is like stuff that I've been selling on Poshmark or Facebook Marketplace. And so in the beginning of the video, you probably saw me grab a couple trash bags. One was a big bag of shoes. A friend of mine has a ministry that takes shoe donations and then distributes them in third world countries. So I had been saving shoes, gently used shoes for her for that, and finally had a full bag, so out to the car that went. Then also there was another trash bag that I opened up with all the clothes that I was trying to sell on Poshmark, and they had been on Poshmark for months, and I had lowered the price and everything, and they just weren't selling, so they're going to get donated to Salvation Army or Goodwill, whoever's currently taking donations. I try not to donate to Goodwill if I can, just because their prices, I go in there from time to time to look for deals on used clothes, and their prices are kind of ridiculous, and it just is like, wow, I probably paid as much for these jeans from Target as you're currently selling them for, but whatever. All right, you do you, boo. So also another thing that I really struggle with in this area is paper clutter. And so these are all like user manuals or warranty cards or registration cards, that kind of stuff. So I'm just kind of quickly flipping through here. And if it's for small appliances, I'm going to toss it because I look that stuff up online anyway. I don't need to keep the paper clutter. I just need the big appliances, the ones that if we sell the house, they're going to stay with the house. So I kept those, stored those away, and my husband's tools, that stuff. I'm going to let him decide what he wants to do with those user manuals. But same thing, if I need to figure out how to use my pressure cooker or my Vitamix or something, I'm just going to YouTube it or look it up online. I do not need the paper book for it because it's just taking up space, and I don't send in those warranty cards. Maybe I should, but I've never had a problem getting anything replaced without the card, so doesn't seem to be an issue to me. So most of this stuff, I've just like over the past 2 years, when we bought something, I would stick the user manual or the warranty card in that bin and then just promptly forget about it. And I was gonna like file some of this stuff, I think, but since we're actually emptying this whole office, I don't want to start over with the office full of junk paper. So, and if we don't end up moving, which, I mean, there's a chance that we won't move, this will be a library, not an office. The office will remain upstairs, but for now, it's more functional for a realtor's, from a realtor's perspective, if it's an office slash fourth bedroom. So there's that. And if it does, if we do stay and we don't end up going anywhere, then this will be turned into a library, and there'll be built-in bookshelves and a fireplace, and it'll be such a cozy, cool reading spot. I'm so excited for that, if that truly happens. If not, great. I am ridiculously upbeat about the potential of moving to a cold climate. And I'm not a fan of the cold, so this is not me. This is the Holy Spirit. Because if it were me, I would be really angry. So yeah, and I'm just kind of taking time to go through all that, and then I'm putting the stuff that I want to keep back in that bin. Wait till the end of this video, because you're going to see the absolute disaster that I turned our gym into, because that's where I was stashing all of this stuff. And frequently you'll see me walk out with a waste paper basket, and I'm taking that outside to dump it in the recycling. Eventually I get tired of repeatedly dumping the recycling bin, and I just bring in the big recycling bin, and I'm going through more papers, more stuff there, like, do we need to keep this? No, probably not. I am absolutely amazed. I would consider myself a purger or a minimalist, right? And then so I just had so much anxiety with dealing with this room and getting it completely decluttered that looking at it, I'm like, nope, you can never call me a minimalist ever again. We have so much stuff in here, and I haven't touched most of it in 2 years, so I just don't need the majority of it. But I think I feel some sort of like guilt if I throw something good away, or even if I donate it. Like, if it's going to take me some time to get somewhere to donate the things, because we kind of live far away from a donation center. Not like terribly far, but 20, 30 minutes to take donations to a place that I feel comfortable donating to. And that's not just something that I can just do every single day. I have to plan that. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'll wait until I have a full box. And then that box turns into 3 boxes. And then that box turns into 3 boxes plus 3 boxes of clutter, plus 3 boxes that have to go to the library, plus 3 boxes of like just recycling or trash that I just need to take care of and manage and get rid of. And then like I open the door and I'm just so overwhelmed that I don't want to deal with it. So I just close the door. And then the next time I gotta go store something, I'm like, well, it's just gonna go in this room, because this room is where we're dumping all the things, right? So I emptied this cube. I got this whole cubey thing emptied. And this is gonna go into the gym, and it's basically gonna hold all the stuff that I take out of here in the bins. So the gym is going to be just a disaster for the meantime, but that's fine, because once the office is completely empty, it's going to be so much easier to deal with where things are going to go. And here my 15-year-old son is helping carry things. Listen, guys, I love my teenager. He is super cool. He is so helpful, and he is a teen boy. I want to encourage you that if you are in the teen years, that you can take heart. And listen, my dog is going to growl, and I'm not going to edit this out, so I'm not apologizing. Anyways, she's like 13, 14, ancient, grumpy. She growls at the wind blowing. Her name is Midge, and she's a diva. But anyways, the teen years have been so fun for us. They've been challenging, don't get me wrong, he's still a teen, but he is so helpful, and anytime I can't get a jar open and my husband's not home, I can just hand it to him, and guess what? He can just pop it right open. Having a teen in the house is so fun. I love the conversations that we have. I love watching him like think critically through things and get to ask questions, and I am just so thrilled. And remember that we homeschool, so him and I are together pretty much 24/7, which, like, we have a really good relationship. And I'm so thankful for homeschooling because I feel like that relationship building has made all the difference in what a cool teenager that I have. He's pretty awesome. Hopefully he doesn't listen to this because he'll be embarrassed. All right, so here I have turned the camera and I am going through all of the stuff on the desk. And the desk, again, has just become a dumping ground for all of the things. And then there is also a closet in the background that we took the doors off of because what I wanted to do was turn that into a desk station. Like, I wanted to put a desk inside there, or just a desktop inside there, and then have the rest of the room be basically a library and have that be like a little secretary closet, I suppose, without the doors. A secretary nook, a desk nook, I don't know. It doesn't matter. Anyways, the doors are going to go back on in the meantime. So I'm glad that we kept them because we've kept all the other office, or all the other bifold doors. But those ones I was just going to toss. Glad I didn't. But yeah, so anyways, that closet is just full of decor that hasn't been used, picture frames that I haven't hung up anywhere, and just all kinds of stuff laying all over the place. And there's like the extra mats from the gym floor are on the floor there, and I keep stubbing my toes on them and it hurts. So I'm glad those are gone now. And any like craft supplies, and I'm a pretty crafty person, but I don't have a ton of supplies. They all get shoved up on the top of that desk there. I'm not keeping this desk. It is way too big for this room. If this room stays an office, in the meantime, we have a much smaller desk upstairs, and this desk is going to go upstairs because there's much more space upstairs for it. So we're going to swap the desk that my husband is currently using, which is more like a side table. It's real thin, real skinny. It will go much nicer in this particular room because this room I think is like 10 by 11 or something, and this desk is huge. It takes up, I don't know, half of the room, maybe more. But yeah, so anyways, this desk went upstairs. By the end of the video, when the room is completely empty, it will have been taken upstairs. And the bookcase and the dresser in the video we just put out on the curb. They belonged to a bunk bed set that my son had that we gave away, but the lady who took the set didn't want the dresser and the bookcase. So we just shoved them in the office for now, and I had been using it for book storage, but they were time to go. Just time to go. So I just did a curb alert on Nextdoor and my husband's Facebook since I don't use Facebook. And somebody came and got them overnight, which was, I don't know, weird, but cool, I guess. And then I woke up to like 50 messages from people asking if I could hold it. And I was like, no, sorry, it's already gone. So kudos to whoever came and got that furniture in the middle of the night. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you for helping us declutter our space. I appreciate it. I was going to try to sell those pieces on Facebook Marketplace, but it's just, I don't know. There's like an opportunity cost in having stuff sitting around in your house that you're not using, that you don't like, and that takes too much time to sell. And I know this like firsthand because of selling on Poshmark, and clothes don't necessarily take up a whole ton of room, but like I had 2 bins full of stuff that I was trying to sell on Poshmark, and it's been sitting there for basically a year or more, and it's just not selling. And then every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I should go deal with that on Poshmark, and then I don't. And you know, it's taking up mental space, and that bookcase and that dresser were doing the same thing. So I'm glad that they are gone. But here I'm having to make like some decisions, and I do not have hoarder tendencies, but when it comes to like the small stuff, I kind of get hung up in the details, and you will see my brain doing weird things in this video. Like I don't know. I wanted to go through each of the pens because we have like hundreds of pens, and I wanted to throw the ones away that didn't work. And then I realized like that would take way too much time. So I did it just for the Sharpies, and I threw a bunch of Sharpies away. And then by the time I finished with the Sharpies, I was like, you know what? No, I can't be wasting my time like this. My time is too precious to be spending checking pens if they work or don't work. We have like 200 pens. If they don't work, just throw them out when you go to grab one, and then grab the next one. And then hopefully by that way, they will get thrown away. Also, I don't know if this is like a homeschooling thing, but I have so many pens, pencils, markers, crayons, paints. I have so many like of those sorts of supplies. I never need to buy any of that ever again. For the rest of my life, we have enough. We have more than enough. So I just need to not ever. I'm like a sucker when I see the pens or markers on clearance. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get those. They're only 10 cents. And then I bring them home and realize I already have like 100 pens and 100 markers and we don't need any more. So I need to just stop wasting money on those things. So I'm glad I did this. I'm glad I went through all the little boxes and all the little things, because I found so many like office supplies that I didn't even know I had, or I had so much of, and they were all being stored in different areas, different spaces. And so I'm glad that I did this and kind of like condensed everything. This room just wasn't working, and it wasn't working on purpose, basically, because it had just become a dumping ground. But it was kind of dual purposing as homeschool storage and Poshmark storage and donation storage, and also like where the printer was living and where all the school supplies were at. And occasionally you can just see me like have like a short circuit in my brain where I'm just like, I don't know what to do next. I'm so overwhelmed. And I don't know why I let this space get so bad. I have been needing to deal with this space since we moved in, but because it was so low priority and there were so many other things to have to get done, like as soon as we moved into this house, we put floors in, we repainted, we did all the baseboards, we did all the lighting fixtures, we did cabinets, we refinished bathrooms, then we had to do mold remediation. Listen, if you ever want to know what builder never to use, what big builder never to use, shoot me a message and I will tell you who our builder was and who you should never use. The process was awful. I never want to build a house ever again, at least not with a big name builder. Maybe with a custom builder, sure, but not with a big name builder. And I am thankful that we ended up with a house in the end. That is a blessing from God, but the whole process was so stressful, and I never want to do it again. I just don't want to do. It was pretty horrific. But anyways, here, like, I've got these like storage baggies, and you'll see me like try to decide what goes in them, how I'm going to do this. We had so many little like office things, and since we don't have a current dedicated office space, I just put them into baggies and I labeled the baggies, because chances are this room is going to turn into a library after, and all the office supplies are going to go upstairs into the little office. So I didn't really know it. Excuse me. If you can tell, I have allergies, fall allergies. They're pretty brutal for me in Florida, so I'm kind of congested and stuffy and just have like grossness going on in my sinuses right now. So anyways, so as I was saying, I just like didn't really know how to deal with this stuff. So for right now, I'm just putting them into baggies and labeling the bags. And then once we have some sort of idea of where the office is going to live eventually, whether it's going to be downstairs in the meantime for a home showing or upstairs for the long run, because that's where the office will eventually end up if we stay here, then for right now, I just have a space, which is going to be a bin, 2 bins technically, full of office supplies with the baggies labeled. So they're going to be, the supplies will be easy to find. It's not very pretty, but hey, it's practical. And I didn't have to go out and buy any new containers or anything. I'm just using the gallon baggies for now, and it'll work in the meantime. So I just have like such a hard time with these little tasks, like the small tasks. I can handle the big tasks, no problem. Like once I get this whole room empty, I have to paint and like I have to fill the nail holes and paint and then put the baseboards in and then paint the baseboards and then clean up the floor and then put the closet doors back on and then paint the trim in the closet doors. And all of those like big jobs, I have no problem handling those. It's these little tedious jobs that just get me super overwhelmed. It's like sorting through the office supplies. I'm just like, ugh, why am I sorting through pens? Why am I doing this? And yet there's a part of my brain that's like, you must do it. All the pens must live together. I don't know if this is like slight OCD or something, but you know, it just is how my brain works. And I just gotta stop making excuses and just get the things done. I can't be like, oh, it's so overwhelming. It just needs to get done. So even if nothing happens and the house doesn't go on the market and nothing comes of all of it, at least this space will be completely decluttered and finally finished. This was the last room in the house that needed baseboards and needed painting. So we have other spaces in the house that still need baseboards, like the closets, or some of the closets anyway, and then an area in the laundry room that I want to turn into a shoe drop, which if we end up putting the house on the market, then we'll just finish it with the baseboards and not worry about the shoe drop. But if not, then eventually that'll be a shoe drop and I won't worry about it. But anyways, again, I'm just getting like bogged down in the minutia. I'm testing all these markers right now. I am so dumb sometimes. I did find a couple Sharpies that needed to be thrown away, but why I decided this was worth my time, I don't know. I think by the end of it, I was just like, no, this is stupid. I can't, this is not what I need to be wasting my time on. So yeah, maybe I should have like skipped through that part of the video a little bit quicker. All right, I've been doing a lot of talking and I need to get some water, so I'm going to let you listen to some fun music. So I think it was right about here that I realized that I was being super dumb with my time, and I just quit sorting through the pens and was like, okay, move on. Stop getting caught up in the details and just get things out of this room, because if you do not move on from this silly task, you are not going to move on. So I want to encourage you, look, if you find yourself getting bogged down in the minutia of the tasks, just move on. It doesn't all have to be done right now, and it doesn't all have to be done perfectly. It just has to be done eventually, and you can come back to it later. I can't tell you how many times I have been in this room decluttering things, going through things, and yet here I am again 2 years later doing it again because it wasn't done right or perfect the first time. And that's fine. Life happens. It's gonna get in the way, and I'm gonna have to probably, once this room is all said and done, I'm gonna have to come back in here again and again and again until it is decluttered enough, until it is organized to the point where it's very efficient. And that takes, this is just one of those truths, it takes living in your space to know how your space operates, right? Like, you have to live in your space before you know where the areas are that become the clutter zones, or become the areas that you just drop everything in. And then it's not until you've lived in that space and you see, hey, this is an area that things constantly get dropped in, that you realize that this space needs dedicated organization. And so don't beat yourself up about it. It's fine. You have time. You have time. This is your space. Whether or not you rent or you own, or you live with somebody else, you can still come up with really clever organization systems for different spaces, and you have time to figure it out. So I know it's like hard. It's hard not to feel overwhelmed when you walk into a space and there's just so much stuff. But give yourself grace, and remember that life is going to get in the way of the tasks sometimes. What's important is that you get back to the task when you get the time. So right about here, I realized that I needed to bring in some reinforcements. I did not have enough plastic bins, and the bins were becoming kind of impractical anyway for some of the larger items, like these heavier books, or like, I think this is homeschooling records. I think in the state of Florida, we're required to keep 2 years of homeschool records, and so everything up there was records. And then I didn't want to throw those away, obviously, so I put all of that in a box. And then there were some important papers that I wanted to keep for homeschool purposes, so those went in that box. And then this whole box, I think, gets carted off to the gym. And no, the box isn't full, but it's fine. I found more boxes in the garage. Luckily, my husband gets a lot of parts delivered to him, so I brought in a bunch of boxes to cart off some more of the items. So here is after the whole room is completely cleared out, other than, of course, my recording equipment to capture painting tomorrow. It was so beautiful. I had all the windows open, and there was like this gorgeous breeze blowing through. It was so nice. Anyways, you can see where I had to patch a couple holes in the walls. And then I'm gonna walk out to the gym to show you all of the stuff that got put out there. Oh my goodness, I am overwhelmed just watching the playback of this. But anyways, there will be a part 2 coming from when I paint. So thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and leave me a comment. Sola Deo Gloria. Bye.